Questions when somebody comes and asks me for an investment is, which I learned from one of my mentor, is why me, why this, why now? So why me means why I am the right person to solve problems. So that means the person and the team that he or she is building. So you should be very clear on that you have put together, you're the right team or the right core team to solve the problem. Why this means the problem and the solution. So you need to be able to identify that this is a problem, which means TAM, SAM, how is it solved right now, how you're addressing it, and solution is how you're going to address it. And why now? Sometimes timing is very important. When sometimes great ideas who come way ahead in time, they do not become out to be a great business or a great outcome for the investors.
You ready?
Right.
Okay, I'll start off by just asking if you could say your name and your role.
My name is Faisal Mushtaq. I'm the founder and CEO of TechCon Global.
Thank you so much.
Can you hear me?
I think so. I think it should be good.
Okay.
What is the number one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time founder looking to raise capital?
So for a first-time founder who's willing to and interested in raising capital, first is he or she has to have identified a problem, identified a team that will solve that problem, and made sure that the timing is correct. This is the right time to solve the problem, and I'll touch upon that. So the questions when somebody comes and asks me for an investment is, which I learned from one of my mentor, is why me, why this, why now? So why me means why I am the right person to solve problems. So that means the person and the team that he or she is building. So you should be very clear on that you have put together, you're the right team or the right core team to solve the problem. Why this means the problem and the solution. So you need to be able to identify that this is a problem, which means TAM, SAM, how is it solved right now, how you're addressing it, and solution is how you're going to address it. And why now? Sometimes people, the timing is very important. Like when sometimes great ideas who come way ahead in time, they do not become out to be a great business or a great outcome for the investors. So you have to be able to understand that. After you've done that, the next step is identifying the right investor. So the one biggest mistake entrepreneur do most often is they treat all investors as a homogeneous entity. Investors are different. They are different in terms of the stage they invest in. They are different in terms of the verticals they invest in. They're different also in the domains that they invest in. So you should be able to, so if you are looking for a very early stage investing, you should not go to a growth stage investor. You should go to, you should always do research on the investor. One of the interesting things that I notice is entrepreneurs will set up a meeting and they will say, okay, what do you do? And to me, it's like, that's something you should have done the research on. So you should have done the research on that, what the investor does, what companies he or she has invested in previously, and what is he looking for. So those are the things that I think that's very important prior to just reaching out to an investor, making sure you have those questions clear and answered, because those are the things that will be asked immediately after you start a conversation.
Okay. And if you had to boil it down, what separates startups that succeed from those that don't?
That's a great question. So there are multiple, I'll say, dimensions that has to be there. So the first is the entrepreneur himself.
Sorry, do you mind if you say what separates startups from succeeding?
Okay, the question, sorry. Can you repeat the question, sorry?
Yeah. What separates startups that succeed from those that don't?
So what separates successful startups from those that are not successful is basically various factors that are ranging from the entrepreneur and the team itself. So the first most important aspect of any journey is the captain, the entrepreneur. So the entrepreneur need to have the drive, the domain expertise, and the passion to solve the problem, to build a company, and be able to face challenges and be adaptive and agile to take the due course of action that needs to be done. So the team, the entrepreneur is important. Then the second thing is the market, the problem, and the product. So those are the earlier answer that I gave. The second dimension is why this, like what are you solving, how are you solving, and the third problem is that the timing. So in very rare cases, you come up with something that the market or the industry is not ready for it. So that sometimes also manifests as a failure. But most of the time, is the team, the solution, the market, and the product. I think those are the elements you need to make sure. So most of the successful entrepreneurs, you'll see that they are, in some cases, they had to adapt. So that the world changed around them, and they have the grit and the agility to adapt to it and continue with their mission. So that shows the persuasiveness and the drive within the entrepreneur, because things will not go as you plan on your business plan, on your PowerPoint deck. Things will be hard. The second part is also the people that you surround yourself with. So you should always try to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. That's the very successful entrepreneur. One person does not knows everything. You cannot consider yourself a master of every domain. So what you do is you realize that what your strengths are as an entrepreneur or as a leader. Understanding the macro picture, the drive, the keeping the culture of the company, and then the mission, and making sure that make hard decisions. I think that's what you should. But you should not be doing everything. You should be surrounding yourself with stuff. And if you cannot attract amazing people, it means either the idea, the product, or the company is not attractive enough. So that's a good test. Can you attract amazing minds to come and really work hard with you to build this vision into a reality? So I think that's very important. And the third thing is that you identify the right problem and you're solving in the right way. So I think that's the product part and the market part. So I think those things are the important aspect, and you have to fire on all cylinders. You cannot have a B-class team and be successful, or you cannot have a B-class idea or a problem you're solving and be successful. You also need to make sure that the TAM and the SAM are sizable. If you're going after a very niche, small market, that caps the total valuation of the company, and that kind of gates what kind of investors you attract. So that's where I think understanding that whole spectrum, all dimensions, and making sure that you are able to execute on all fronts is the key. And most of the entrepreneurs that are unsuccessful, so again, I have a great quote that the only person that can say no to an entrepreneur is the entrepreneur himself, which means that when he or she gives up. Because you've seen the videos of Airbnb founder Brian Chesky, that they got like 25 rejections, 100 rejections. No should not be taken to heart. That should even make you more motivated to continue and continue to charging ahead. You'll get hundreds of no's in your life. That should not bring you down. The only time you give up or you stop trying is where you will that's a real no. As long as you haven't given up, you can have 100 no's, and then the 101st yes will come in.
Okay. And what emerging technology and trends excite you the most right now, and why?
Yeah, again, this is we are very fortunate enough that we are living in this world, which I'm seeing for the second time. So the first trend that I lived through was the internet boom in the late 90s. And that was a game changer, where browser came in, connectivity became omnipresent, and then the whole world changed. New applications, new business models developed, and we are seeing the same thing with AI. And that's what's really exciting me, because the whole equation is changing. And I remember I used to be in early days of my career in Cisco, and Cisco was a company that was laying the foundation of the internet. And it's a very deep tech job. You're doing a lot of hard, difficult infrastructure development, which is, I will call it, plumbing. And then after some time, plumbers were not in that much demand, because then once the infrastructure was built, the applications, the apps, and the other products took over. And now I'm seeing the same thing in AI. The coolest thing in AI right now is that the companies like Anthropic, who just raised 13 billion at 183 billion valuation, building the plumbing of AI, which is the LLMs and deep models. So I think it's very exciting that this cycle is repeating. And like any other cycle, whenever you have a disruption of this magnitude, it creates new wealth, it creates new solutions and products that nobody knew. So if you go in 1995, 96 and show that person the world that's right now with iPhone in your pocket and browser, and I think it will be hard to imagine because and this is not 500 years ago, this is just 20, 30 years ago. So it's very hard to project how the world would be in another 20, 30 years. But one thing for sure, it will have more better solutions, higher efficiency, and more wealth created for everyone. And that happens in those cycles. So very exciting times. I will say in some shape or form, you should all be involved in this cycle, and we all should benefit from it. So, yeah.
Thank you. And what is some advice that you would give to investors in this time in history right now?
Yeah, I think for investors, I mean, if they'll listen to my advice. So, if you look at the AI investment landscape, the scale has become untenable. The amount of investments that are coming in. I just saw the announcement for Anthropic, and it was the big names, Iconic and Menlo, and so. But there are all kind of investors, early stage and all. So my advice would be that make sure that we continue to invest in other domains, from climate tech to fintech to other areas, because as all those other investment opportunities are very attractive given the valuations that we have seen in AI. So my advice would be that there is a temptation of FOMO, of like everyone wants to invest in AI, but I will say that I hope that many investors are continue to invest in their domain and expertise where they have been investing, and and AI will permeate in every industry. So if you are passionate about AI, whether you're doing, say, even if you're doing a medtech or digital health investment, AI will be part of the solution in some shape or form. So you do invest indirectly into that, but please continue investing in other domains, because we need to make sure that every industry continues to grow.
Okay, thank you. And what is some of the best career advice that you've ever received working in the tech founder startup industry?
Yeah, I think the first advice was from one of my managers earlier in my career, and he mentioned that the most important asset that you have when you're leading a company or a team is the people. And what it meant was that people shortchange people the most. Like if you have time, what you will cut would be one-on-ones with your team, or human level connection building. That's paramount. And what I've seen in my career is that companies go through ups and downs. There will be really good times, and there will be really difficult scenarios. But if you have built a good team and culture, that team will row and work together to get through those challenges. And that requires investment. That requires investment in time. That requires listening. That requires. So I'll give you my example. At one part of my career, I had a team of several hundred team members, and I had around like 15 plus direct reports in the first and second degree. And I used to have one-on-one with everyone, even if I'm working 80 hours a week, because I never shortchanged that time, because I knew that relationship that I'm building, that time, that listening to them, how they're living, what challenges they're facing, will help me understand them better, and help me also build that connection, that when we needed really difficult decisions or difficult times, they all supported each other. So I will say, if you're building good tech, and people go with the tech, I love tech, but people come first. So I will say, invest time in building amazing team, spend time nurturing that relationship, because then that will last you a lifetime. but also it will be a safety net that you will have when you have difficult decisions and difficult challenges in your company.
Hmm. So I guess kind of related to that, why is building community so important for entrepreneurs and going to conferences and that sort of thing?
I think it's very important because so first of all, I will say my first advice to entrepreneur is building community is paramount, but first step you have to do is you should build relationships when you don't need them. So a lot of people do the mistake that say, they are happily employed or their company is running, then they shortchange building relationships, community, and then say something happens and they are looking for their next opportunity, and suddenly you'll see them coming and interacting and networking. I will say build relationship when you don't need them, because when you need them, they will be there. So a lot of people do that, and I think that's important. I will say there are many benefits. Number one is you get free advice. So when you're networking with people, you learn from them. Different people have different expertise, different domain that they have worked in. So those insights and those expertise are very valuable.